You know that feeling, right? When you're standing on the edge of a big decision. Maybe it's a new job, a new city, or even just starting a new workout routine. And you know it's good for you, but there's this powerful, almost physical resistance holding you back. Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today.
I mean, it's a totally universal experience, isn't it? That friction between knowing you need to grow and that deep, deep desire to just, well, stay put. So, what is really going on inside our heads?
So, there's this quote from a Dr. Siamak that just hits the nail on the head. He says, "Change is the only permanent phenomenon in life." And that sounds like a total paradox, right? But believe it or not, getting our heads around that very contradiction is the key to figuring out why we struggle so much with making progress. Okay, so to really get to the bottom of our own personal resistance, we have to zoom way out. Because, and this is the wild part, it turns out this isn't just a human problem. Change is literally a fundamental law of the entire universe. I mean, just think about it for a second. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is truly still. Galaxies are expanding, planets are spinning, and when you get down to the atomic level, everything that makes up our world is just in this state of perpetual motion. The idea of stillness, it's actually the illusion. And if you want to go even smaller, let's talk about nanoparticles. Now, these are the basic building blocks of, well, you, me, this microphone, everything. And what Dr. Siamak explains is that they move so constantly and so unpredictably, it's like they exist and don't exist at the very same time. How crazy is that? It just goes to show how fundamental change is. It's woven right into the fabric of reality itself. All right, so if the entire universe, right down to our atoms, is built for constant change, then why do we humans fight it so hard? Well, that brings us right back down to Earth and to the other side of this whole paradox, our incredibly powerful and very, very human need for stillness. You know, to deal with all that universal chaos, we have this deep instinct to build anchors for ourselves. We create routines, we build stable relationships, we look for familiar places. These are our psychological safe zones, you could say. They're designed to give us just a little bit of peace in the middle of a relentless storm. And what do we get from these safe zones? Well, a whole lot, actually. Stability, it gives us that deep sense of calm, right? That feeling of security and internal peace. It grounds us through our relationships. It gives us a real sense of place, and it helps us build those meaningful connections with our tribe. You know, our family, our friends, our community. So now we've got these two incredibly powerful and totally opposing forces at play. On one side, you've got the entire universe pushing for constant change. And on the other, you've got our human psychology pulling for stability. And that collision, that clash between these two primal drives, that's the real source of all our anxiety. And this whole conflict, it's rooted in two really distinct parts of our programming. Think of it this way. On one hand, we have our evolutionary tendencies. For our species to survive, we've always had to adapt and change. But on the other hand, we have our tribal tendencies. To feel safe and connected, we crave stability, security, the status quo. We are literally, and I mean literally, hardwired for both. So, and this is the crucial point. That feeling of anxiety you get when you're thinking about a big life change, it's not a personal failing. It's not you being weak. It is the result of a deep, ancient conflict that's coded right into our DNA. It's a tug of war between the part of you that needs to grow and the part of you that just desperately needs to feel safe. And, you know, if you look at human history, there's a pretty clear winner whenever survival is on the line. Think about it. The Ice Age, famines, natural disasters, wars, the humans who made it through were the ones who chose the hard path of adaptation. When push comes to shove, our ability to change has always been our greatest strength. So we can't just get rid of either of these needs, right? They're both part of us. The real question is, how do we live with them? Well, let's talk about the solution, because this is where we can actually build a happier, more fulfilling life. And spoiler alert, it's not about choosing a side. It's all about mastering a balancing act. And according to Dr. Siamak, this right here is the secret. Real success and happiness in life, they don't come from ignoring our need for security or squashing our drive for growth. They come from learning how to skillfully and artfully negotiate between those two opposite poles. So, okay, how do we actually do that? Well, first things first, you just have to acknowledge the conflict is real. Just see it,
Name it. Step 2, you have to intentionally build your foundation. And this means putting real energy into things like that weekly call with your family, or a solid morning coffee routine, or making your home a place that truly feels like a sanctuary. And then step 3, and this is the absolute key, you use that secure foundation as a launchpad. You take risks from a place of safety. It's like applying for that scary new job because you know you have a supportive partner to come home to. And this quote from Dr. Siamak just illustrates it perfectly, especially in a relationship. A balanced couple finds fulfillment not just from having security and feeling stable, but also from being unrestricted and able to exercise their freedom to expand and grow. A healthy partnership isn't about two people staying the same forever, right? It's about creating a base that's so secure, it gives both people the freedom to change and evolve. So ultimately, that's the beautiful synthesis here. We're not one or the other. We need both. We need deep roots to keep us grounded and stable, but we also desperately need strong wings so we can be free to explore, to adapt, and to really reach our full potential. And that leaves us with one final thought, a question for you to take with you. Just take a moment and really ask yourself, if you knew, without a doubt, that your foundation was solid, if you felt completely and totally secure in who you are and where you belong, what amazing change would you finally have the courage to embrace?